To be alive, and I pray to God you are as well. We have an amazing guest tonight. Guess who? We have the one and only um, founder and CEO of the Givelify app. I know many of us use this app. I am number one. I used it this morning when I woke up and found money in my account. How about you? Well, I am ecstatic to be alive. That is my saying. I pray to God you are ecstatic. Go tell a friend to tell a friend because this is a show to talk about. All right. I'm going to bring in at this time our amazing guest and introduce to you that do not know him the one and only Mr. Wale. I'm going to try to pronounce your name. All right. Mafolasire. I tried.
Great, great job. Great job. Great job, Dr. Jackson. Really super excited to be here. It's Mafolasire. But most people call me Wally. It's a lot easier to get away with Wally.
Amen. I accept that invitation to call you Mr. Wiley. All right. So, how are you doing today?
No, it's a beautiful evening. Really excited to be here with you and to your guests and the people who watch this show. Tell you it's such a fabulous show, just uplifting those of us who count on our faith to get through life. Just hearing stories of different things of people overcoming, trusting in the Lord. And so I'm just super excited to be here with fellow Christian brothers and sisters, and hopefully we can learn from each other.
Amen. I received that. Well, I'm going to get right into the questions because I know that time is going to slip by very quickly. All right. The audience are already chiming in, so we're going to put their statements on the screen a little later. But I'm going to put this on the screen. It says Meet Givelify. And then it says Givelify is a heart centered organization where good people come to do more good. Can you tell me? Um, I can imagine in the boardroom, you're coming up with, visions and mission statements and everything. How did you come to this conclusion for that statement?
It's a very interesting question, and I wish I could take full credit for that statement. I have an amazing team on our marketing team. Shout out to Juan of Elise, who you are working with, coordinating today's session. And the team just listened to the Givelify story and how we got started, what was the motivation for the company, and who we try to be, who we try to serve. And one thing we found to be true is that there's lots of good people out there with that innate desire just to want to play their part. And many of us count on our faith as that thing that we lean on to be able to express what good means to us. And so as we start thinking about what Givelify is, who does it serve, it's like, you know what? We want to serve the good people with the heart to do more good. And we'll be the place that they come to do more good.
Awesome. Your mission statement. We instantly connect people to cause that matters most to them so they can change their world with kindness and generosity. When I thought about your mission statement, Mr. Wale, I thought about growing up in the church, right? And my dad is a bishop, and we would literally sit in the middle of the bed and roll the coins. Back in the day, they had coins galore, right?
Tell me
But
about it.
you have eliminated that process with an app. Can you please speak to us and tell us what happened for this inception, Givelify, to, to come to our church and to our organization?
Yeah. Well, first of all, Sandra, I know you try to give me credit for what's happened here today, but I like to say the power goes to all the people who are out there who are taking out of their hard-earned money, and they're giving it to churches and various nonprofits out there because they feel moved to be part of the solving some of the world's toughest challenges. And we know that we can count on the church to be that place, that pillar in the community. We can count on the church to be that place that we lean on for spiritual fulfillment, for spiritual growth. We can count on the church to play a lot of roles that, quite frankly, there's a lot of data out there that says the church helps with a lot more welfare programs than even the government. And so for people who go out there and take their hard-earned money to support the churches, to support these nonprofits, it's an honor of a lifetime to be able to support them, to be able to serve them, to be able to help them express that thing that's in their heart. And I want to give a shout out. I know you talk a lot about how many kids you have. I want to give a shout out to all the moms out there who are passing on that tradition of kindness and generosity, right? Through the kids, through the grandkids. I happen to be benefiting from one of that, from one of those moms. Shout out to my mom who lives in Noblesville, Indiana, not too far from you, Dr. Mrs. Victoria Mafolasire, who I would never forget the voices in her head. Wale, have you paid your tithe?
Ooh.
Wale, have you paid your tithe? And it's those voices that when you haven't paid your tithe, keeps ringing in your head and helps you figure out, how do I make sure I'm paying my tithe? And so we'll get a little bit, we'll get more opportunity here to talk about how we started Givelify. But I got to, give the power to all of you all who are playing your part to make sure the church and the institution that we know as the church can continue to live, can continue to do what it's meant to do in the community, and continue to uplift each and every one of us.
Wow. There's a question. Have you always had Christian values?
Thankfully, those are the only values I've ever known in my life. Shout out to mom. Shout out to mom. But life takes you in different places. We'll talk about my journey in the United States. Yeah, takes you in different places, and you get a little bit curious as a teenager. But thankfully, those groundings that mom instills in you always pulls you back, right? And then you find your path. You come back to who you are, and amazing things happen when you do that.
Now, you have to tell me about the time you're sitting in church with $2 in your pocket and it's offering time. Let us know what happened in that moment.
I promise I will share the story if you promise you will not judge me.
I will not judge
All
you.
right, all right. Nobody in the audience is going to judge me. All right, very good. So, it's amazing. I mean, many of us can relate to this maybe 10 years, 15 years ago, maybe 13 years ago. But for me, the story was I'd sit in church and it's time for tithe. It's given time. I'd reach for my wallet and it's $2 in there. And I'd give the $2 sheepishly and make a promise to myself. Next Sunday, I'll remember to stop by the ATM on my way to church so I could give exactly what I intended to give. Because I knew I wanted to give way more than $2.
Right.
And guess what would happen next Sunday? I'm sitting in church. It's time to give again. And maybe it's $1. Maybe the wallet is empty this time around. And this will go on for weeks after weeks. I remember at the end of the month, I'll be like, okay, God, if you just promise you forgive my debt from the past weeks that I did not give what I meant to give, I promise I'll do better next month. And it just never happened. And once upon a time, I remember when we opened our bank accounts, they gave us a stack of checks. These days, barely do they even give you a check leaf. So writing a check was not even an option for me. And but I do remember this particular Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Shortly before it was time to give, our pastor asked us to go into the Bible to read a message. And I pulled out my phone, tapped on my Bible app, read the message. And now it's time to give. And I'm reaching for my wallet, and it's empty as is the case. But I know there's plenty of money in that wallet. And in that moment, something clicked that if that phone was good enough to be my Bible, perhaps, just perhaps, it could be good enough for me during given time. And that spurned a lot of thoughts in my mind. I was very restless in church, prayed about it, and literally that's how the idea for Givelify was born.
Wow. So you made a declaration to yourself that you will never be found in that place again because of your pastor's, what did you say? You didn't want your pastor looking at you funny, but you said also the main key to me is that you didn't want to feel the embarrassment. You knew you wanted to give, but you needed something accessible to give but at the time it wasn't in your wallet.
No, so to put things in perspective, right? For many of us, we spend Monday through Saturday. Everywhere we went, we'd probably swipe a card. If you're like me, I might not even swipe a card. I might just point my phone at something. I need a cab. I tap on my phone. There's an Uber waiting for me outside. I need coffee. Da da da. Tap. There's something waiting for me outside. So Monday through Saturday, that's my habit, right?
Right.
Now, all of a sudden, 1 hour on Sunday, I'm supposed to change this habit that I've perfected all of my
All
life.
week.
Some Sundays I did well. Most Sundays I failed horribly at it. And for me, the guilt of knowing how much I was blessed and not being able to support my church, my mom's voice ringing in my head while I haven't paid your tithe, um, meant I had to do something about this. And as is the case with any situation, you're like, you know what? I think there's a problem here. I remember looking in the app store, and you might remember those commercials. There's an app for this, there's an app for that. There's got to be an app for moments like this. Went into the app store, and there wasn't any. And I'm like, okay, all right, maybe I'll create one. Um, Worst case scenario, I'm the only person who uses the app. But if I am, that's okay too. At least it serves me that embarrassment that I feel, that guilt that I feel that I'm taking from the church. I mean, my pastor is on that pulpit just preaching his heart out with the big old handkerchief, wiping the sweat off, trying his best to give me what I need to get through the week. And here I am taking all of that in and just walking out that door without contributing into the plate. It's not a good place to be. So I figured I'll build the app, and in the worst case scenario, I'm the only person who uses it, and at least it saves me the avoiding eye contact with my pastor. I think he hates me. Sneaking out the back door 5 minutes before the service is over because I don't want him to come say hello and ask how I'm doing. It's a lot of it's a lot of things you feel when you're not playing your part as a standing member of the church. And I felt if I built the app and it solved that problem for me, then that's good enough. Little did we know that we're solving that problem for about 1.3 million people who go through the app today, who give to 60,000 organizations. And last year alone, they gave $1 billion to different organizations. Honor of a lifetime to be able to serve each and every one of you.
What foresight? That's all I could think about when I think about your creativity, connecting the dots. How many times do we have an idea come to our mind, but we do not initiate it? And that's what I was thinking about when I was introduced to you. And the ironic way this happened, I don't even know myself. I'm like, what in the world? So I receive an email, right? And it says they want to interview me. I'm like, this has to be a scam, but I'm going to go ahead and respond, right? And so I respond and I get another email. I'm like, how can they know that I use this? I don't know. So I go ahead and respond, and they give me a calendar date to have an interview with them.
Wow. Okay.
And I meet with these wonderful people, and we're on. I'm sure we weren't supposed to be on that long, but I had so much fun, totally. And now we're here today to discuss such a profound, brilliant mind. Like, I can't even get over it that I now can bring my tithe and offering to the storehouse without leaving the comfort of my own home.
Mm.
If you're in the audience and you use this app, I would like for you right now to put a 1 in the comment section. If you use this Givelify amazing app, put a 1 quickly in the comment section. I want to know if I'm the only one. All right. I see you. I see.
Shout out Corey. Shout out Victoria.
Yes, Ashley. Come
Ashley,
on.
shout out
If
to
you
you.
listen, Cynthia, now she's a
Oh,
pastor and her
shout out
parishioners,
Cynthia. Okay.
yes, her parishioners use this app. All
Oh,
right.
wow. Wow.
My church used this app. I am a member at CAM, Kingdom Apostolic Ministries, and I spoke to my pastor. He sends his love to you.
Shout out to
And
Bishop
yes,
Gates.
Bishop Lambert Gates, this is the message that he sent to you, my dear. He said, Givelify will testify.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
It's a blessing to Cam and the kingdom of God. I highly recommend as a well functioning digital platform for giving and tithing. Oh
Wow.
my gosh. What's your response to that?
It's amazing when we started Givelify, I only knew one pastor. Shout out to Pastor Matthew Ball, Fifth Apostolic Church, Carmel, Indiana. I only knew one pastor, and it's in those moments where you're like, what am I going to do? How am I going to tell churches about this? And I remember that thing just telling me, remember the story of Moses. He gave all the
Oh,
excuses in the world of why he couldn't lead the Israelites. And God just kept assuring me, like, look, I will open ways for you. I will open doors for you. And I do remember going to Bishop Gates' church. Didn't know him from anywhere. Just
whoa.
the story. And he wrapped his hands around me, prayed for me, and said, "You're going to be successful, and we're going to start working with you right here at our church." So, Bishop Gates, thank you. I don't know if you remember that story. It's probably 6, 7 years old story right now, but I'll never forget. It's people like you who gave Givelify a chance when we probably didn't even deserve one. And thank you for your faith and trust in us, and you'll forever be dear to my heart.
Wow. Thank you so much for that. So you walked me right into my question. Can you name a few of the organizations that took a chance on you in the beginning?
Yeah. Wow. Once upon a time, I used to be able to recite all the names of the organizations that Givelify worked with.
Mhm.
When you have 60,000 of them, that starts to become a bit of a challenge.
That's a good problem to have.
It is a good problem to have. Uh, but I'm praying for God to expand my memory. I'd like to know the name of each and every one of the 60,000 organizations by heart. But some ones that you might know of the Red Cross National Headquarters. We work very closely with them in the nonprofit space. If you can think of most of the mega churches in the Black mega churches from Potter's House,
Oh wow.
um, to Light of the World Christian Center down there in Indianapolis.
Hmm.
We're working with almost every one of them in the country. So it's to Los Angeles, uh, Church of God in Christ in LA, New Psalmist in Maryland. Um, we've just been really honored and blessed to meet some really amazing people who've given Givelify a chance, and just super proud of the work that the team does to make sure that this service can be reliable for you all. One of the things I love hearing from people, as the CEO of the company and the founder of the company, I think it's my God-given right to say we have the best product out there. If I did not, I think God would be mad at me.
I love it. I love it. Listen to this, Mr. Wale. This is a pastor, and she says, I love that I can bring God my tithe or seed in at 3 a.m., 12
Wow.
p.m., 1
Wow.
a.m., 6
Wow.
a.m., actually
Wow.
24 hours a day. And
Wow.
I would add to that there are no strings attached, there are no liabilities, there are no hidden fees. I absolutely love this app. And I just want to tell you, thank you from the depths of my heart, because you have become the liaison, the connectivity for so many homes around the globe. And I don't think you know what an asset you have been to the world and internationally. I don't think you've even stopped long enough to know, because you've been on this journey of trying to perfect something that God has put in your hands and trusted you with. Am I right?
Yeah, I think you say in the best way. I will probably say too that I probably don't even know.
You
What
don't
I
know.
do know though, is that we don't take the trust that people place in us lightly. We take it
Mm-hmm.
very, very seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And I said it earlier, like if I did not say we had the best product, God will be mad at me. But what makes it so easy to be able to confidently say that is it's not just my words. When you go to the App Store, If anybody's has their phones on them, just go to the App Store and type in Givelify. Um, when I look at the App Store and Google Play, over 100,000 people have rated us 4.9 out of 5.
Mm.
And these are not reviews that we paid for. These are people who feel so strongly about what Givelify has done for their spiritual growth through giving, who are saying, look, this app has helped me become the kind of giver that I imagined myself to be. And it's no mistake that it happens, because one of the things we try to do is understanding the faith part of how things work, but we also tie up into the principles of the psychology of giving.
Mhm.
Right. And you see that a lot today in a lot of like social apps, the Instagrams and the like of them, where they tie up into the psychology of habit formation and they get you addicted to the screens for different reasons. And
Mhm.
we're tap into some of those principles as well. But the only thing we do is we're not using it for evil. We're doing it to help people become that kind, generous version of themselves that they aspire to be. And it's a thing of beauty when they go write that in the review store and say, hey, look, I'm able to give any time. And for me, we get to watch that happening. If you go on the website, there's a live ticker of every gift that's coming in. And literally, you can count on every second of the day. Somebody's sending some money to some church in some part of the world through Givelify. It's just an amazing thing to watch. And I just want to say a very big thank you to all the big, generous hearts on this program today who are watching. It's because of you that the kingdom can expand.
Oh my God, so many questions are going through my mind, but the comments are coming in. This is a question from the audience. Corey says, how do you stay so grounded in your position? That's a great question.
Yeah. Yeah, at the second this is well, I'll give a review too. Shout out to Victoria. I'll be looking forward to that. Thank you. No, so, when I think about how we started Givelify, and I get asked this question a lot. It's for us, it was not about we're thinking about what's the next $1 million idea, right? For us, it was just look, I want to be able to give, and the options that are in front of me make it too easy for me to say I'll do it later, right? Whether it's text to give, I like text to give a lot. I like to talk about it. I'm like, look, it works, but if I'm not in church, I don't know what the number is. Like, I don't know if I should say this. Forgive me, mom, but I remember once upon a time I used to know my mom's phone number by heart, right? And she changed her number, and now all I know is mom in my phone. I don't even know her phone number by heart anymore. I got to remember a text to give code, right? And so one of the things we wanted to do when we built Givelify was just think about how we give, and we said we're going to simplify that into a three-step process. And that three-step process basically is what we observed happen in the church when it was giving time. Step number one, you reach for your purse or your wallet or whatever it is, right? Pull out the money, put it in an envelope, and then you give. 3 taps. And for us, it was very important that we're able to replicate that behavior in 3 taps on the phone. The
Mhm.
simple things like that we do that makes people enjoy giving through Givelify and feel that fulfillment, the spiritual fulfillment of growing in their faith through their giving.
Only by giving are you able to receive more than you already have. Do you believe in that? From Jeff?
Absolutely. 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 Um, we'll talk about some of the challenges we faced when we started the company. But what I've come to realize is that every time that I led with what can I give of myself, right? Doors open in ways that I will have never, ever imagined.
I would like for you to go into that right now and tell the audience, when you were in college and you had this desire, who did you go to for support financially?
So, we've all seen those episodes on Shark Tank, right? You have an idea, you go pitch investors, and they write you a check, and you're able to use that check to get the idea funded. For technology companies, it's typically the norm, right? So you have an idea, you go to investors, they write you your first $500,000 in check, you build the product, now you're ready to take it to market. They make what we call a Series A investment, right? Which might be $5-10 million to help you take that product to market. And as you continue to grow, they put more money in there so you can keep growing Series B, Series C until you get acquired or you become a publicly traded company. And I thought that would be the Givelify story.
Oh,
And so I
really?
started pitching investors. Hey, I've got this idea. This happened to me in church. I'm trying to solve this problem. I just need to raise a little bit of money to be able to get things off the ground. And I remember pitching investors in Indianapolis. I don't want to mention their names. And everybody said, nah, this is not going to work. I'm like, okay, fine. Forget Indianapolis. I'm going to go to Austin, Texas. I hear the investors there are very progressive. They'll make things happen. Went to Austin, Texas. All of them said no. I'm like, I'll forget Austin. I'm going to go to San Francisco. I
Wow.
heard over there, if it's called an idea, they'll write you a check. Pitched a couple of investors there. They all said no. I'm like, you know what? Forget San Francisco. I'm going to go to the money capital of the world, New York City. That's the money capital of the world. I'm going to go pitch some investors there. Uh, no. And 300 rejections later, I had to look at myself in the mirror and say, okay, all right, this is not going to happen. I've got to figure out something else to do. But thankfully, I got back from that last trip on New York on a Saturday. Sunday, I was back in church. I'm dealing with the same issue again. And so I'm like, you know what? I just got to figure out a way to solve this problem for myself. And started looking around. Okay, I've got some credit cards here. I've got a little bit in my savings. Let's start with that. Maxed out the credit cards, emptied the savings account, overdraw my checking accounts, and then it's like, okay, all right, I'm looking around. What else can I do here? Well, I have this car. I think I could get $30,000 for it. All right, put it on cars.com. 2 weeks later, somebody gives me $30,000 for it. All right, I'm able to go for maybe 2, 3 months. And if you live in Indianapolis, you know you cannot get anywhere without a car, right? So that's a huge sacrifice for me. Um, that money runs out. Now I got to think about where else can I get money from. I'm looking at my apartment. I'm like, hey, if I move to a smaller apartment in a different part of town, my rent can come down from about 1,500 then, if I remember well, to maybe like 450 or 500, whatever the downgrade was able to gain about $1,000 a month that I could use to fund the business. Um, and as we needed more money, I started looking at all my friends. I'm like, guys, look, if you're truly my friend, you will invest in what I'm trying to do. And a lot of these friends are friends that I made in college. And some of them are like, well, I don't have a lot of money, but I have a $2,500 limit on my credit card. Here you go. And just like that, they trusted me, and they were my early investors. But the lesson there, when I reflect on it, is sometimes we think about this blessing supposed to come from somewhere that we never imagined.
Mm.
And all along, I'm going from Indianapolis to Austin to San Francisco to New York. Little did I know that the investors I was looking for, God had deposited them into my life in college. In college, they were not big time investors with $2,000 there, $2,500 there, and that was the lifeline we needed to get the company off the ground. And so, I often encourage people sometimes when you're thinking your way and your plan is not working out, it's probably perhaps God is trying to redirect you to a different direction that it's not even in your visibility.
Wow. Friends, friends. My mom told me something when I was young. She said, good friends are hard to find. Once you get them, hold them tight. And what you did was you formed relationships that would benefit you, but it wasn't an intentional um, thing for you, right? And you didn't have any ulterior motives. You formed these friendships and they came to bat for you by your word. They trusted you. That's huge for me. And I wish I knew them because I want to tell them thank you. What we don't understand is um, we're like a link, right? Each link connected together
Mm,
births the dream of the next person. So
yes.
it's not good for us to have the crab mentality where we are pulling one another down instead of building them up. What I see them doing is they helped build you. And I'm sure you made it good by them. Yes.
Oh, absolutely. No, I mean, absolutely. Many of them like, hey, Wally, look, this thing you're talking about, like, I think I understand it. I don't know where it's going, but I trust you. let's do this. But one of the things I also emphasize sometimes is like, you know, people invest in you just because of who you are. And
Mhm.
when that happens, you have a responsibility to make sure you do good by them.
Yes.
And for me, it's something I take very seriously. Those are the only investors. Those friends are still the only investors of the company today.
Wow.
Many of them work in Givelify as executives,
Wow.
and um, it's that trust. When somebody places trust in you, just understanding that you have a responsibility to protect that trust at all means. I talked about, in those early days for us, it was super important. Um, so think about this, right? Imagine I came to your dad's church, Sandra,
Mhm. Mhm.
and I said, "Hey, Bishop, I've got this app that can help you grow your giving in your church. But before you can use it, I need all the credit card numbers of all your members. And not only do I need that, I need the church's bank account, right?" Uh, and it's like, who are you and which one of the devil's angels sent you to me? Right?
Yes, you must know my dad.
Exactly. And he'll probably be like, "What's your name?" And I give
Right.
him one of these African sounding names. I was like, "Wait a minute, I thought you all send emails. I didn't know you showed up in person."
Exactly. Oh
Right.
my gosh.
And for us, it was super important that, the one person who trusts us, if we had to cut off our arm to protect that trust, that arm is gone, no questions asked. And protecting that trust is the core of who Givelify is. Several years later, obviously, we're a little bit more sophisticated as a company. We're able to define what our values are. And our values at Givelify is in an order of hierarchy.
Mhm.
Integrity is the number one thing. It's our non-negotiable. In everything we do, we have to ask ourselves, where's the integrity in this? And if we cannot check the box on integrity, right? If we cannot, no matter how profitable it is, it's a non-conversation starter. We're not doing it because integrity is key to us,
I
for us.
appreciate that. We have to take a pause because I have sponsors who sponsored this show tonight.
Shout out to the
All right.
sponsors.
This is It's Your Turn Now talk show by the host is Dr. Anthony Walton. He is on every Monday at 8 o'clock. Please tune in to his show because it's my turn now is especially for you. He is also an author of 5 books, and he's getting ready to release his 6th book real soon. His name is Dr. Anthony Walton. Please tune in when? Every Monday at 8 o'clock. Thank you, Dr. Walton. Amen. Thank you so much. The question from Victoria: at what point did you realize, hey, this is going somewhere?
Wow, that's a good question. So, a few weeks ago, somebody reminded me of something I posted on my Facebook in 2014, and he said, "Hey, we found." I think I posted that we have 100 churches on Givelify, and I was super excited about that. I do remember our first year when everything was all said and done, paid all the bills, that did what I had to do. We made $150 profit. $150. I do
Hmm.
remember sowing that profit into the First Baptist Church in Savannah, Georgia.
Wow.
Um, the pastor prayed for me and they
I
said,
got
"Hey,
that.
look, what you did, we know it's your widow's mite, literally the widow's mite from the Bible." Um, and year after year we just saw that 100 churches became 1,000 churches, and the 1,000 churches became 2,000 churches, 2,000 became 3,000. um, and so for each one of those milestones, you get to celebrate, you get to thank the good Lord for his faithfulness. um, but what we found to be so true is that every time we needed to take the next leap of faith,
Hmm.
in the organization. I didn't know where the answer was going to come from. I literally lived month to month in how this was going. Somebody always showed up. Somebody always appeared. I want to thank God for Bishop Walter Scott Thomas, new psalmist in Baltimore, Maryland.
Mm.
Bishop Walter Scott Thomas was introduced to us by Reverend Scott, who was at St. Louis at that point in time. And Bishop said, Wally, what you guys are doing for the kingdom is powerful. I'm going to introduce you to some of my friends.
My God.
And I didn't know what he meant by some of my friends. And he
Mhm.
invites me to Scottsdale, and I'm sitting in front of Bishop T.D. Jakes. I'm like, what?
Friends.
I'm like, what? Um, so
Wow.
yeah, but it took almost 2 years for us to get to that point where financially the company could be stable,
Mhm.
and I didn't have to worry about how I was going to pay the next bill. But again, it wasn't possible without the people that God sent to help us out.
That's awesome. Uh, we're going to show a video in a minute. But Victoria, she says, the Bible talks about how it's harder for those who are financially stable to believe and follow him as as the profits begin to increase. Did you ever have any issues remaining grounded to your roots?
That's a good question. You know, oftentimes I talk about the different, and people are say, well, what's the best business book you recommend to me? Like, what's your favorite one? And I tell them, as far as I'm concerned, it's the Bible. It's the best business book you could ever read, right? So if you look at from the very beginning, Genesis 1, chapter 1, I'm like, let there be light, there was light. I'm like, that's God. Like, he could have said, you know what? Let it be like it's 2023 today. Just think about that. He could have said that, and everything would be just like it is today. But instead, he said, you know what? What's the first thing I need to do? I just even need to see what's going on, right? I need to see what's going on. And when you look at those biblical references, it's like it's a framework for business. It's like, don't try to become a big company overnight. Just do the basics first. Separate the skies from the earth. Let there be light. Create something on the third day, on the fourth day. And for us, it was like literally that's the approach, right? What are we even doing? Year one, year two, year three. And you can look at a lot of those references. Um, and certainly, as the business starts to grow, you're gonna have those moments, where we're in Lent right now, where the devil is gonna take you to the mountaintop and he's gonna say, hey, you see everything here? If you just bow down to me, I'll make it all yours. Right? And you're gonna have those moments. They're gonna come in different ways. But thankfully, the best business book ever written teaches us how to handle that. Get thee behind me, Satan. Get thee behind me, Satan. And so the question of how do you stay grounded is, when you look to the Bible, there's hardly anything you're going to deal with in the business world that there's not a playbook there for you on how to address. Now, I talked about the challenges with fundraising. And for me, it's like you think about the Israelites circling the walls of Jericho, right? They could have done it on the first attempt and the walls will come down flat. That's the reason they had to do it a few times and try it a few different ways. And on the last attempt, they said, you know what? Instead of going this way, why don't you go that way? And the walls came down flat. And for me, it's things like that that kept me going through all the rejections. And when finally I was like, you know what? That route is not working. Let me try a different route. And the walls started coming down flat. And so, what's the best business book ever written? I promise you, I'm not being blasphemous. I think it's the Bible. I can't. I think we lost the
Yes.
audio there. There we go.
So Victoria says, so you can make an app and preach. I
Oh,
know
I don't
Mama's
know. I
proud.
don't know about the preaching part. I tell people all of this is like, hey, on that last day,
Yeah.
I might not have saved a lot of souls, but I'll bring my Givelify record to God and say, and
Oh.
I'll play my part.
Oh. Oh, yes. She said, your faith was tested and it sounds like you passed. Mm, mm, mm,
Well,
mm.
it's constantly tested, right?
Yes.
When you're in the business world and you have to think about profits, the temptation is always there to cut corners,
Mm,
to cheat, to treat people like they're nothing. Um, it's one of the reasons, I tell people this all the time. I think we're able to do the things that we do at Givelify, thankfully, because we don't have investors on our neck
mm,
trying to optimize us for profit, right? And so when I think about the rejections and how disappointed I was
mhm,
and where we are today, I'm very grateful because I know there's just no way you have a master who's always concerned about profit
mhm.
that you can truly carry out the vision and the mission that the God has given to you.
Share with us when you were talking about the other day, you said there came a point when you didn't want to displease God. Remember what you were saying about that? You didn't want to money to come in and you not bring tithe for that amount of money.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's no, that's so as we're starting the company, one of the things we had to worry about was security. Um, and why we wanted to be very intentional about security was, when I look back at the story of Ananias and Sapphira in the Bible, and they were supposed to bring their earnings to church, and they shortchanged God, and they thought they could be smart about it, right? And we know what happened to them in that story. And for us, I just never wanted Givelify to be that story, or for whatever reason that we had shortchanged God. And so it was very important that from the very beginning we're thinking about the security from what are all the reasons why we might not be able to bring this full earnings back to God. And we started looking at it from a security perspective. What are all the risks that we have? And for us, it was like, okay. I mean, if you think about it, it's $1 billion. I mean, I came here as a college student, and I lived on $20 a week as a college student. If somebody ever told me, well, at some point in time you have $1 billion every year, I'm like, no, you gotta be kidding me. I'll do the Sarah laugh. You
Yes.
gotta be kidding me. Like, it's not possible. But I did not want to be held financially responsible for any part of that $1 billion. And so for us, it was very important that we had banking partners who could help with those transactions. So at any point in time, the transaction is not sitting in any of our bank accounts. It goes straight from you, Sandra, when you make that gift,
Mhm,
goes straight to your church. And
mhm,
our software just makes sure all of that is happening automatically
mhm,
with true integrity.
mm. I'm so grateful for the security. I didn't realize when I interviewed with the couple, I didn't realize that your security was what it really was. I didn't realize the process. And so if I am gifting my tithe to the storehouse at 1 o'clock in the morning, it's going to take you time to make sure my funds are legitimate, so there won't be any errors at the church in the bookkeeping. You really take this seriously. Now I'm going to I'm going to show this video, and then when we come back, I'm going to show you the website. Uh, give me one moment. I want to show this video, and then I'm going to show you the website because we want to talk about that. All right.
Awesome. Let's do it.
All right.
We know that even just one powerful act of generosity creates lasting impact, like a beating heart, bringing life and hope. And the beauty is that every one of us has the power and the heartfelt desire to do good. Good happens every day, with or without us. That is why we created Givelify, an intuitive, simple, and above all, human brand. Our purpose is clear: to harness the power of technology to fuel more good, to celebrate the good people, the moment, the act, to make giving instant and so joyful that they want to do it again and again and again. We recognize that there's much to be done in this world, and we were built for this moment. It's a privilege to be a strong link in this feel-good and do-good movement. We humbly recognize that we are merely a bridge connecting people to causes. We give ourselves to a greater cause, to uplift the everyday heroes, changing their world with kindness and generosity. To reach it, we will lead with heart. To grow it, we welcome all giving hearts. Why? Because this is bigger than us.
That's what the Givelify app looks like. It's bigger than us. And I would venture to say, oh, what? Give me one. Yeah. I was thinking when I saw that statement, it's bigger than us. I said, it's bigger than you. It's bigger than your company. It's bigger than the whole dynamic of everyone that's on that app. This is a God thing. It's bigger than everybody on the planet. It's bigger. What do you say to that?
It truly is. We've lived it. You've lived it, Sandra. Many of us, we've lived it, that when we find the purpose for which we're created, we come to realize that it's not about us.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about us. We're only here to make sure that, there's that quote that's credited to Muhammad Ali, right? Which is, service is the right you pay for living on this earth. It's bigger than us. And it's there's nowhere else I could say it other than, once you live your life recognizing that it's bigger than you, breakthroughs happen, miracles happen.
On that note, Jeremiah 29:11, I know what I am doing. I have it all planned out. Plans to take care of you, not abandon you. Plans to give you the future and hope. My goodness. When I thought about this, that's the scripture that came to mind, and that is in the Message Bible. There's another scripture that I thought about, Mr. Wale, and that is the book of Amos. And it says in the Message Bible, yes, indeed, it won't be long now. God decrees things are going to happen so fast that your head will swim. One thing fast on the heels of another. You won't be able to keep up. Everything will be able to be happening at once. And everywhere you look, blessings, blessings, blessings. Is that a scripture that you think about?
Absolutely.
Think about your life? Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And thank you for sharing that. I think for everybody listening and watching us today, we can relate to the message that the scripture is trying to pass on to us there.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Amazing. My friend from Illinois is on. Her name is Sherry Ryan.
Hi, Sherry. Good to have you here with us today.
Thank you. I have a quote that I say all the time, and I won't go into the meaning, but I think you will be able to feel it, and it's on the screen. I am ecstatic to be alive, and I pray to God you are as well. When God grants us with abundance and with life, we're able to show appreciation back to God. And I often think about that one leper that returned to God, right? Little did the 9 know that they missed out on a wellspring of blessing. They only got a portion, right? They got a portion of blessing. But the one that returned was able to receive the full blessing. I thank God that you stayed in there long enough. You suffered in college, $20, a week or so, and God entrusted you with
Shout out to my Uncle Isaac. He used to leave it on the counter every Sunday. $20.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God. She said, I used that scripture and got my home. Oh,
Amen.
yes. Oh,
Amen.
yes.
Amen.
And she has a beautiful home. That's Pastor Anderson.
Amen.
All right. So at this time, we're going to take a break because in order to bring relevant and up-to-date interviews, the Sanders Authors Forum need contributors. And if you are a sponsor like the one we had, we want you to, we're going to provide you with an opportunity to give right now. If you can do that, please go to your Cash App now or your PayPal, and you can give. My saying is sow a small seed, reap a great harvest. This is your time now to sow a seed until Sandra's Authors Forum. Oh, Victoria shouting out your uncle too. She's something else. Now that's a beautiful testimony. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to have one more sponsorship after this, but we're going to go into some more questions. All right. And I want to show you the website, if you will. This website is second to none. How did you come up with your color scheme?
Good question. I have the great pleasure of working with some amazing people at Givelify. You might have heard me mention the name Juana Veliz. She leads our brand marketing efforts. And a few years ago, they came to me and said, Wale, when we started the company, I was like, all right, we need a logo. Let's just go ahead and spell out Givelify, give it a funky eye, da 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 da. And then Juana and her team come back and say, Wale, it's time to grow up. Let's make you look a little bit prettier. And so they did all the amazing they did all the amazing work of picking out the color scheme, asked a lot of questions about the heart of the organization. I'll tell you what, when people who are better than you, if you're surrounded by them, they make beautiful things happen. And I'm so glad that I have a team that brings the best out of Givelify and shows that to the world.
Very good. Very good. Now, this is the website. Yes, we're going to put that on the screen. You can still give while we're going through the website. Please send in your donation so we can have more relevant shows. All right. Thank you. All right. This beautiful website, I was scrolling through. Can you talk to us as I scroll? All right. You said better together. And I keep hearing you say that over and over again, that this is not you. This is the whole entire team. And it's diversified, correct?
Yeah. Today Givelify employs roughly around 120, maybe 30 people. And one of the things we quickly recognized when we started the company was the power of diversity. That there were just ideas that would come from different places based on people's diverse perspectives. And so it was something we'd always leaned into to say, hey, as we build this organization, how do we keep that essence, like what makes that organization tick? And diversity is one of those things. You look at our leadership team, you look at, if you have a chance, hopefully maybe somewhere in this website we'll get a chance to see the makeup of the people who work at Givelify. You see a very diverse group of people. It's not a mistake. It's very, very, very intentional, the things that we do to make sure that we maintain the essence of the company. If you go to, there we go, our story, for example, I think, you should be able to made of us, made of you. It's all about being together. You see that right there. Actually, if you go back to that link, maybe I should take you to the homepage and click on the logo at the very top. There we go. All right. And so one of the things you see is that live ticker there, right? Literally, that's what's happening in real time as people are giving to their church.
Wow.
Different organizations. If you make a gift right now, I'm sure you probably see that pop up in real time. And what we've come to appreciate is that the big hearts who use Givelify
right here,
right? Constantly, every second of the day, somebody's sending something to some church somewhere. And the features that they've come to appreciate about the phone you talked about there is like, I could do it at any time of the day. I could do it while I'm at work, while I'm in church, or while I'm at home. I could do it. But there are features that helps them track all the giving as well, right? So You don't have to wait on the church to send you a statement. At any point in time, if you want to see how you're doing with your own giving, if you want to step it up, want to just make sure you're on track, you go into the app, tap on my history, or sorry, your giving, and you can see everything there. It itemizes it for you. It shows you comparison charts of how you're doing year over year, how many gifts you've given per month, all the different organizations you've given to. So if you're like me, I have a couple different churches I like to support. My church in Indianapolis. I live in Dallas now, but I still support them, so I could just go and do that at the app. When I go to conventions, right? All that money you give while you're at a convention, a lot of times you don't even account for it in your records. You just give it away. When you use Givelify, it keeps track of all of that. So at this time of the year, as you're thinking about your taxes, not only are you doing the right thing by God, but you have the records to make sure that Uncle Sam is also rewarding you for being a faithful, generous person.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Big hearts. That's amazing. Now, I went over this app today, but I didn't realize that ticker is telling you in the second, in the moment that someone is giving. And right while I was on, $1,000 was gifted at one time. And it's steady moving. Look at that. You talking about making money while you're sleeping. This is on a whole new level. But look at that.
I like to think it's making money while you're sleeping. But I oftentimes I talk about when you lead with how can I give of yourself.
Yes.
When you lead with how can I give of yourself, and just perhaps you find yourself in situations where breakthroughs like this happen. I'm blessed. But again, it was not because we sat down there trying to figure out what's the next $1 million idea. It was because we sat down there trying to answer the question, how can we give more?
All right, that website, you can stay on it for days. I'm going to give you an opportunity to go and visit it on your own time. You will find out. Yeah, Givelify.com is very easy to pop up as well. But what I love about it is you can. I even screenshot it today because I was like, this is crazy. I didn't know that you can do all of this on the app. And during the interview, they also showed me some things that you can do on the app. And you don't even have to wait for your taxes. Your taxes come. You don't have to wait. Back in the day, we had to wait until the secretary gave you a report and all of that. But you can get it right on the Givelify app. Exactly. She said, that's cool. Visit his website at givelify.com.
Victoria, we hear that a lot. All right. It gives you that year-on-year report of how you're doing. And many people challenge themselves to do better than they did the previous year, right?
So we want to bring that up because your team showed me that you have a silver, a gold, platinum. What's the other one? Yes, I didn't know that existed, and I'm sure the audience didn't either. So if you will, please go to your Givelify app now, and you will be able to see. I'm going to walk you through it if I can remember, right?
Yeah. So you all get to experience that feature very soon. We're going to be announcing it to the world later on this year. But it's what we call the champions of good. And what we've come to appreciate is there's a special group of people out there who have just taken generosity to heart. And because of their generosity, the churches we love dearly are able to do the things that they want to do. They're able to support us with their spirituality. They're able to step in when we need food with their food banks. They're able to help homeless people's prison ministries, and all sorts of different ministries. Mm-hmm. And when we reflected on that, it's because there are some good people who are using Givelify to make all of that happen. And so for us, we wanted to celebrate their hearts, their generosity. And so we came up with this program called the Champions of Good. And basically, it's a way of encouraging that giving to keep going because of the impact that they're making. So we have what we call the true impact levels. So the more you give, it doesn't count the size of your donation or of your tithe. It's just, hey, are you doing it consistently? And the more consistent you are with your giving, you get to earn silver status, right? Which comes
Yes,
with its own benefits. And then from there, you go into gold.
I'm gold. I'm
Yeah,
gold.
you're
I'm gold.
there you go. And then you get to platinum and then to diamond. And then what we're working on is a way to just truly reflect the heart of those givers and be able to celebrate the good that they're helping champion through their respective churches. And there's going to be some nice rewards coming with that very soon that I can't wait to talk about once we're ready to talk.
Really, really. All
Yes,
right.
yes.
So, how does it feel to live out your vision every day from
That's
Corey?
I tell you what, man, I've done work for the sake of earning a check,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm doing work that earns me a very nice check, um, but also is meaningful. And I could tell you when you're doing work that earns you a check and is meaningful, it
Mm-hmm.
feels a lot better. I can't imagine a world where I just go back to just earning a check for the sake of a check. And so, my advice to everybody is when you have opportunity to live your purpose, it feels really good. But that opportunity sometimes does not present itself in black and white. And just so constantly asking that ourselves that question, what is my purpose? Why am I here? Why am I living? The skills that I have, what more can it do? And for many of us, we're able to use those skills to advance the kingdom,
Mm-hmm.
and that's great. And but let's just keep asking ourselves that question: what's my purpose, and how can I continue to live it every day?
Mm-hmm. So he just explained to us, just by him asking that question, his dreams were has come to fruition. And the topic tonight was dream big. And what I want to say to the audience is, just like Mr. Wale stated, it wasn't easy for him to initiate this dream. It wasn't easy at all. He had to go through some mountainous, upheavals and some challenges that he's going to talk about. He talked about some of his challenges, but I'm sure one of my questions were, can you tell me one of the major challenges you had before you launched, and
Yeah,
then one after you've launched?
yeah. Oh wow, wow. Several of them, several of them. But I think for me, the biggest ones was when you're rejected by over 300 investors. And when you're just that young person who's trying to figure out how do I build something, it could really shake your confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell people when I reflect on it, for me, it's like, yeah, the rejections, okay, all right, whatever. But I think the more damaging thing those rejections do to you is they discourage you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and finding the fortitude to be able to just push through, even when the people you think know more than you,
Mm-hmm.
right? The people you think believe no more than you are telling you this is not possible. It cannot be done. Go find something else to do. Stop wasting your time.
Mm-hmm.
It could be very demoralizing. It could be very demoralizing. And for me, just finding that fortitude to be able to push through despite that was probably the hardest thing. Um, but thankfully, like I said, every time I heard that, I was in church on Sunday. And I saw the problem again. So it's like, okay, y'all saying this, I'm experiencing that. Um, but the message there is there's somebody here today who's probably dealing with that, right? There's this burning thing on your heart that you want to do. And when you talk to your friends, you talk to people that you think know more than you, they're giving you all the reasons why it's not possible. They're giving you all the reasons why it's not possible. But I want to say to you, if you can find one reason why it's possible, hold on to that and let that be what motivates you.
Wow, that's powerful. Thank you so much for that. On that note, we have the last commercial. This is a video, so stay tuned. Um, Mr. Wiley, you can take a little break, and I'm going to bring this video up from our sponsor. Her name is Miss Kim Jacobs, and she is running an ad right now with Mr. Les Brown. Will you please be patient as I bring this video to you?
Hello, everyone. I am Kim Jacobs, the host of the Kim Jacobs Show, and you all know who's right here with me, Dr. Les Brown. How are you, Dr. Brown?
I'm blessed and highly favored. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the time you want to give yourself a competitive edge. If you got a message, you have some knowledge or experience, a story, or if you want to do something adventurous and exciting with your life that can increase your credibility, expose you to millions of people, I'm encouraging you to have your own talk show. I used to have a talk show. That one talk show catapulted me to another level. Now there are more people watching the internet, as you are aware, than television. Yes. Come on, somebody.
That's right.
Dr. Kim Jacobs, she trained people on how to have their own talk show. She will train you how to do that. And now with me partnering with her, now you have the combination of an audience, expansive audience. We have over 4 million people in all of our platforms, and the coaching you need to grow your business, to grow your multi-level marketing organization, to draw more attention to yourself in this noisy economy. Go ahead, Kim.
So in the training that I do, Les, I actually do a 6-week training. It's 1 hour per week. And each week I meet with the individuals one-on-one. We go through and we talk about all of the things that's necessary for a show to become a reality. We go from how to actually identify your focus area, what's going to be your ideal customer that's going to be tuning in. We'll talk about how to get guests, how to get sponsorship, how to go about getting your lighting, your branding, and your banners, and everything that you need to know. And guess what, Les? They own their own content at the end of the day.
And that's exciting. Now, if you're ready to create a shift in your business and in your life and increase your cash flow, I want you to go to KimJacobsConsulting.com. It's right down the screen, KimJacobsConsulting.com. You know, people say opportunity knocks on every door. Right. No. Opportunity stands by silently waiting for you to recognize it. So I want you to recognize that this is a time for you. This is an incredible time to have your own talk show. It establishes a level of credibility.
Yes.
And by being exposed to people on a regular basis, it allows you to strategically begin to impact and attract your audience. She can take you in a place in yourself that you can't go by yourself. So go to KimJacobsConsulting.com. That's KimJacobsConsulting.com. Did I say KimJacobsConsulting.com? Yes, you did. Very good. Make sure you go there and sign up for the coaching, and we're looking forward to working with you. You have something special. You have greatness within you. That's my story, and that's Kim's story, and we're sticking to it. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for your time. And if you want Kim to teach you the ropes, please mention Sandra's Authors Forum and she will give you a discount. Thank you so much. May God bless you. All right, Mr. Wale, we are ecstatic that you joined us tonight. What we would like to ask you to do is if you have any last words, and after you finish, you can lead us in prayer for our audience.
Yeah. So, you asked me a question, what was one of the hardest things that you had to deal with? And I talked about the rejections and how demoralizing it was. But there's a particular story that I feel like I can end this note on.
Please.
I remember once upon a time, very much early in the company's days, one of our payment processing partners, something happened on their servers, and this was maybe 2015. And they accidentally charged people twice on their credit cards. It's never happened again since then, because we really took the fight to them. And for me, it was a huge breach in trust.
And so the first thing I wanted to do was make sure like everybody who was impacted by that we got them their refunds. Reached out to the company, hey, how could you all da. It's gonna take us about 3 or 4 days to sort all of this out, Wale. Please bear with us. I can't wait 3-4 days. I've got people here who were not anticipating this would happen. And I remember there was this lady who called into the office, and I personally took the phone call because I used to do the customer support then. And she said, "You guys did this, and because of that, I'm not able to pay my mortgage. I'm overdrawn." And I was really moved by that story. And so I went to the bank. I said, "Hey, look, ma'am, you're gonna get the money back. It's gonna take a couple of days, but I know you cannot wait." So I went to the bank, pulled out some money, and I Western Unioned it to her. And the woman, and I told the woman, "You're gonna get your money back on your credit card. When you do, just call us and we'll arrange for this money I'm sending to you through Western Union. We'll arrange for it to come back to us." And we left it at that. Lo and behold, by day 2 or 3, all the money was credited back to their respective credit cards. The lady calls back into the office. I saw the money on my credit card. And now I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get that money back to you guys. And in that moment, something said to me, "Nah, just tell her to hold on to it and apologize for the inconvenience." And we did. So that was my message to her. The next day, the next week, the pastor calls into the office and he wanted to share a testimonial with me. And the testimonial was, this lady got up in church and said when she tried using Givelify, a lot of people discouraged her. A lot of people discouraged her, "Don't do this, security, da. And so when we had that issue with the double donation, they said, "We told you so." But then what happened is she got double charged, no doubt. But that money that I sent to her via Western Union, she had to keep that money. And she looked at it from like, not only did this happen, but I got blessed an amount for my mortgage that I did not plan.
Come on.
Through this. Reason I shared that story, there's many facets to that story, right? Because obviously after she shared that testimonial, everybody in the church starts using Givelify. And that was my own goal.
So what you're telling me is your generosity opened the door not only for her to get to calm that situation down. You had to think out of the box, right?
Right.
Because you knew your reputation was at stake.
Exactly.
Because something beyond your control happened. And so what I can appreciate about you is you owned it. All right, because that's huge. I had a situation with a company. They didn't own it. They actually blamed me for it. And I severed that relationship. What you did is you're telling me integrity came to play. That you came from a place of, you put yourself in the shoes of your customers and you redeemed that above and beyond your call of duty. And in turn for you doing that, you reap the benefits in oh my God, I'm speechless, in a miraculous way. Great story.
Thank you. And yeah, I didn't look at it from that perspective, but I looked at it from the perspective of the lady who got one extra month of mortgage.
I know. That's why I do what I do. That's why I'm disappointment. That she acknowledges, because I think outside the box. I listen to what you're saying, right? And it's my job to point out, because a lot of people don't point out, and you're probably like, you're giving me credit for this, you're giving me credit for that. God has given me insight to be able to compliment people, because many people don't do that, right? How hard do you work in 24 hours each and every day, right? Nobody can make up the time that you lose from your family, the sleep that you lose, because you're taking care of the passion of so many people. And so I feel like it's my obligation to whomever I meet to put a smile on their face, to let them know their work is not in vain, and that they are appreciated. So, Mr. Wale, tonight, if nobody has ever told you, Sandra told you, you are well appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you.
Listen, Victoria says, please come back annually. So
I will. I will. If I'm invited, it will be my pleasure to
oh,
be here.
you have an open door policy here, all
There
right?
we go.
She
There
says, look, so that we can watch Givelify grow by leaps and bounds. We can't wait to speak with you again, Mr. Wale. Oh
Amen.
my gosh.
Amen.
She
Thank you for
speaks
that
for
prayer.
the she
Thank you for
speaks
that
for the
prayer.
masses. Oh, she said open door. Yes, open door. You can
Okay, I got you. Thank you, Victoria. I got you. I got you.
listen. Oh, we want you to pray. Whatever the Lord leads you, whomever the Lord leads you to pray for, we want you to just pause one moment and say a prayer.
Before I do, I just want to just leave with you asked for my favorite quote, and I want to
Yes.
leave people with
I'm
that.
sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. Can anybody guess the best time to plant a tree? The best time to plant a tree. All right. All right. It was 20 years ago. That's the best time to plant a tree. Well, guess when the next best time is? Today. It's not too late to pursue that thing on your heart.
Mm.
And as I close in prayers, I pray that whatever is burning on your heart that you want to pursue, that God will give you the resources and He'll send the people to you
Thank you, Jesus.
who will make it happen for you. Amen.
Loving Savior, we give you praise and glory, honor, dominion, and power. You're a mega God and you do mega things. We thank you for bringing Mr. Wale to us today. We ask that you would sustain him and the company, God, because he's answered a call. Whatever obstacles that may arise, we ask that you would push them away, oh God, as quick as they arise. Give him the wisdom, the ingenuity, the wherewithal to navigate that company even better going forward. God, I thank you. I love you and I adore you. Bless the people that are on the show tonight from every area, every media outlet that they are watching tonight for, and the replays. If you're watching it on replay, we speak a blessing into your life bigger than you could ever dream for yourself. In Jesus' mighty name, amen. May
Amen.
God bless you.
Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. Thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
To God be the glory, you all, for the great things he has done. Remember to start each day with a grateful heart. It's more blessed to give than it is to receive. There's still questions and everything coming in. Oh my God.
Springtime is the best time to plant a tree. Love it.
Springtime is the best time to plant a tree. I plant my tree today. Oh,
Amen.
if you have given any stars at this time, we want to tell you thank you. Please go on and contribute stars for the Sandra's Authors Forum. It will help us down the road. Thank you so much. And we appreciate everybody. I'm saying good night, good night, good night. Love you. God bless. Oh my gosh, everybody, I thank you so much for being so kind and listening to this broadcast. Good night, and may God bless you.